And, well, I would just like the senators to stand before you and take one question each, if you're so minded, and we'll end on that note. One question to each senator. You'll have ample time to grill them when they take their tickets.
Well, I think politics is everybody's business. And I think when persons put themselves up for public office, it means that they're going beyond their call of duty. And they've reached a time in their life when they think that they're comfortable with themselves and they would like to serve country.
In your particular case, Mrs. Singh, there's been a question of how long the negotiation may have taken place, whether in fact you properly informed your past employer in terms of CCN about what had happened, and whether or not there was a concern in that regard. How do you respond to that?
I believe that my negotiations with the leader of the opposition, like he says, it was an internal issue in the party, and therefore I chose not to have that discussion with my employer at the time.
And you see no concern with regard to that in the context of, because the PLM previously had made accusations when raised concerns of poaching of the media when the partnership came into power, and there was the number of resignations and that kind of thing. You see no comparison to it?
I find that question very premature for me at this point, and I would rather not answer that. 1 year actively.
I'm also wondering from Mr. Singh, for your part, the question of the having lost an election, many people felt it was going in that particular direction anyway. How do you see your future as a senator, as opposed to having contested seeking to become a member of the lower house?
Well, firstly, I stand here with national pride, and one of the more fundamental principles, even a cry called from the Honorable Leader of the Opposition, was basically to call the youths forward. I've so done that. I've approached, I've taken the responsibility as a young individual, a young professional in society, and represented at that local level at the Shoguners West by-election. Further now to this appointment, which I humbly accept, proudly, excited, willing to serve. I'm here. I've been baptized by fire before. I'm here to serve this country with the best of my ability. And I'm going to go forward, and it's a learning environment, and I will be making my contributions to the input, voicing the positions of the youth and getting them involved in terms of the national politics of the day, and using my case as an example to all those who is sitting on the fence or the other sides, to see myself as an individual in the political arena making that contribution has definitely given the central population, the south regions, and in fact the entire country hope for change and a better future, a better Trinidad and Tobago.
Mrs. Rowley, reduce your replacing what contribution would you be bringing to the Senate? What new would you bring as leader of opposition business?
Yeah, well, thank you very much for that question. Before I answer, I'd like to thank Dr. Rowley for the confidence he has reposed in me. Well, essentially, I think I bring a wealth of experience to the Senate. As you know, I started my political career in the Senate, to some extent under the tutelage of Dr. Lenny Saith, and I think I learned quite a lot from him while he and I were in the Senate. He was the leader at the time. I have had quite a wealth of experience in the politics, and that is what I intend to bring. As Dr. Rowley said, I'm leading a young team. At the time in the Senate, I was the young one, but now I have become the leader, and I'm looking forward to that. I think the persons that we have in the Senate, some of them have served the 3.5 years already, so they have a certain level of experience, and the new ones will gain from their experience and the experience that I have as a senator, as a an elected member of parliament, as someone who served in the High Commission and has served at the cabinet level. So that is what I'm hoping to bring.
Mr.
The team.
Robinson, since you returned into active politics, you know that there are certain members of this government who you would know from your previous parliamentary incarnation
Yes.
keep bringing up things that happened during your term as an MP, as a minister, and so on. Do you see that as being somewhat of like baggage going into this new term and what you're trying to achieve as leader?
Well, some of the members who are there are persons that I already dealt with, in particular Ganga Singh, and he has a certain level of baggage. The other members may not have had baggage when they were coming in, but they now have baggage. So it might be baggage for baggage. So, and it's not only the members of parliament who bring up the so-called baggage, it's also the members of the media, as I see in the newspapers from time to time. And I have explained my so-called baggage on more than one occasion, and it keeps coming up. But I'm sure that I'll be able to deal with anything that comes up in the Senate when it does come up, and I do expect it to come up. But some of you may know that I am well known for my snappy retorts, so I'm sure I'll be able to deal with that.
Have you perhaps, now that you're as you're now going to be leading the bench, have you and Ms. Beckles had any talk about things which were going on before you got there, particular strategies?
No, as you know, the announcement was only made yesterday. Mrs. Beckles Robinson was in the parliament until quite late, and so that will come between today and tomorrow. But it will happen.
Do you feel confident that you could lead PNM in the Senate given the number of things that are to be addressed now, and especially in light of the fact of the lack of sittings that there's a backlog and be able to catch up?
Sorry, could you repeat?
Then a lack of sittings for the elections and so on. Will you be able to catch up quickly to be able to properly lead in the opposition in the Senate?
Well, as far as I understand it, there are one or two issues on the order paper now, but there isn't that much on the order paper. The lack of sittings is not as a result of the opposition not wanting to sit. It's the government not having sittings, and we will be prepared whenever sittings are called to work, to do what we have to do as members of the opposition. As Dr. Rowley says, we have been supportive of the government on various issues. When issues come up, we will examine them, determine our strategy in accordance with the caucus of the PNM, and we will do our part as senators to support the country and make sure that the country moves forward, because that has always been the strategy of the People's National Movement. Thank you very much.
Thank you.